Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Coming Distractions brought to you by the Nerdpocalypse podcast. I'm your host, Jay. I'm here with my co-host, Micah.
Hey.
All right, guys, we're back. This time we will be reviewing Justice League. Of course, this is the 2017 superhero action big team-up movie. Been waiting a long time for this one. Finally, DC is bringing their equivalent to the Avengers to the screen. So this movie, obviously directed by Zack Snyder and in part Joss Whedon, due to some behind-the-scenes mishegas. Screenplay was written by Chris Terrio and Joss Whedon, as well as some work by Zack Snyder, starring Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill, Gal Gadot, Ezra Miller, Jason Momoa, Ray Fisher, Jeremy Irons, and some other folks. So obviously this is a culmination of like Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman and Aquaman and The Flash and Cyborg all coming together. So, you know, this is one of the biggest superhero movies of the year, potentially. So we literally just left the theater and we have to review this. So Micah, what were your thoughts on this?
It's fine. It's fine. Yep. It's fine. It's it is it's not Wonder Woman. I didn't leave the theater like super jazzed, right, but I did leave the theater very hopeful. The film has issues, narratively and technically, but the performances, like these characters, these actors appear to know their characters or know how they're playing their characters. Like, right, we get a very different Aquaman that you might be used to seeing. We get a different Barry Allen that you might be used to seeing, but different does not equal bad.
Right, I agree with that.
Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot, whatever, steals the show. She does, like you said, a lot of the heavy lifting in the film. It's a simple story, which is good, but that first hour kind of drags. Like it's a chore to get through that first hour. Once you get through that first hour and the team is essentially assembled, then things pick up and it becomes something a little more fun.
Right. So the movie is just under 2 hours. It's 118 minutes, I believe. I would agree. I also think it's fine, or a little bit better than fine. It is not the mitigated disaster that I think a lot of people assumed it is. Not by any means.
No.
And it is hardly going to be set in the pantheon of, you know, comic book movies like Avengers was when it came out, right? Like, it's just not going to be that. And that's okay, too, by the way. It does, to echo your sentiment, it does make me hopeful for what DC has coming next. Because they get a lot of things right. They get plenty of things not so right. And I think a lot of that is just all the craziness behind the scenes of this movie, with Snyder leaving at a certain time and then bringing on a different director and then editing down significantly. Yeah. So, and then and then Warner Brothers just sort of like, we have to react to every little thing kind of thing. Because there's a lot of moments in this movie where you're like, they clearly added that in response to this criticism. And like, it's very obvious, right? Yeah. You know, the point about Wonder Woman being pushed up as sort of the doing a lot of the heavy lifting. It's clear that was changed because Wonder Woman did so well. Her solo movie did well. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that, because it was really nice having her there, because they needed her. Like they do. And I can't believe that that's a true statement, that in a Justice League movie, Wonder Woman is the real standout here. Like, that's surprising to me.
It's not surprising that Wonder Woman is the standout. I'm surprised that Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman is the standout.
Okay,
look,
that's fair.
I will eat all the crow in the world. I thought Gal Gadot was going to punt it as Wonder Woman. Like I did not have faith in her at all, and I was pleasantly surprised in Wonder Woman. I was surprised. I was surprised in her brief period in BVS. I was blown away by her performance in Wonder Woman, and she continues that. Like she continues to be the thing that with which this universe will revolve around.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about some of the performances. So we had so the general premise of the movie, which we didn't talk about, the general premise is Steppenwolf, who's this major villain from outer space, comes down and he's like, hey, I'm going to basically gather these three MacGuffins together to create one big MacGuffin to kind of take over the world, right? Or destroy the world as we know it. Which is all fine and good for a superhero movie. I thought Ezra Miller as the Flash was pretty funny. Like, I enjoyed him. He has a sort of awkwardness, as we discussed, like almost kind of on the spectrum.
Yeah.
Style of comedy.
Personality. I didn't know if it was meant to be that, but that's how it came off.
Yeah, I think it's about right.
And it is. He's funny. He is where the levity comes in. He's the jokester of the crew. We were talking Ray Fisher, just out of nowhere, it was
really surprising.
Delivers a solid performance.
I would actually argue it's one of the better ones.
Yeah, but especially with Cyborg, because Cyborg, you know, the way certain people play Cyborg, he's just like a homeboy, just like smart, or they go too robotic, right?
Right.
And he plays it in the middle perfectly.
Yep.
Ben Affleck is, I mean, he's still Ben Affleck Batman. Like, if you enjoyed that in BVS, you get more of it here.
There's not really much of a difference in his performance.
His character, though, he is really guilt-ridden about the death of Superman, which is very different from Batmen that we have seen in the past.
No guilt. No guilt for anything.
And he makes, one could argue, an irrational decision in the film.
I would argue it's a very irrational decision.
Yeah, and you know, Wonder Woman is like that's a source of contention within the group, right?
Right.
Like she is the calm, rational one, the caring one, the understanding one, and Batman's just thinking with his dick. Like, he's just like,
we need to do this thing.
Right. We need to do this thing because, and
he's very technical in that way.
Yeah. Yeah. What did you think of Jason Momoa as Aquaman?
So Jason Momoa is, he is playing the bro dog Aquaman, obviously. He's not acting. They put him in a suit. They gave him a sweet trident, and he's not acting. Like, he's himself. Like, I just assumed that Lisa Bonet would show up at some point and they would just walk off.
I mean, I thought Mara was going to be Lisa Bonet.
they might.
Why not?
Yeah, because he's not acting. That being said, I enjoyed him. Like, I did. I will say this. I'm very interested to see what his solo movie looks like. Because there are a couple moments where he's not just doing the kind of bro dog thing, but he's like delivering some like fairly serious points.
Yeah.
And I thought he did a pretty good job in that.
Yeah.
I did think, just as an aside, I thought the underwater scenes were fantastic. Like, they were really cool. The way he moved and the way other people moved underwater, how they speak, which is a really neat, I won't give that away, but how they pull off speaking underwater is really cool.
Yeah.
It's a cool effect. I thought he was pretty good. But I'm interested to see him not under that sort of Zack Snyder style, but more under, I believe it's James Wan's directorial style for his solo movie.
Yeah. Aquaman was weird. Not weird, but like you said, it wasn't Aquaman. It was Jason Momoa just kind of walking around in tights which is very different from any version of Aquaman that you've seen previously. But it worked. It worked within the dynamic that the movie set.
Right.
And that's all that really matters.
Right. It's not, as long as it makes sense
within the context of this movie. Now, you speak about things making sense narratively. The story is very simple, like you said.
Yeah, it is.
Bad guy wants to get 3 things, and Bruce Wayne is building a team
to stop
him.
Right.
Which is a good thing. Sometimes stories need to be, well, most stories are simple, but when plot kicks in, that's when things start to derail a little bit.
Right. I mean, the first Avengers movie was aliens are coming to get this thing.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
Stop them.
Right.
That's all it is.
But there are some narrative issues in the plot that I won't talk about for fear of spoilers that just kind of seem silly to me. And I know that sounds weird because this is a comic book movie and it's supposed to be silly.
Well, like there are moments just narratively that it's not that it's hard to understand by any means. Again, the story is very simple to the story's benefit, actually. But there are moments where you just go, well, that doesn't. It's not that it doesn't make sense, but it could have just been a little bit better handled.
Yeah, you could have done this instead.
Right.
Exactly. And it would make sense within the context of the movie.
Right.
But it is what it is. The only other, really, the only other thing that kind of annoyed me a little bit was when the movie shows off its effects. Like, when the effects are good, they're good. And when they're not good, they're really bad.
Yeah, I was surprised to see a movie of this scale with this amount of money behind it and this important to this genre and everything else that is sort of taken over Hollywood in a lot of ways. I was surprised to see that the CGI wasn't as on point as it should have been.
Yeah.
In parts, by the way. Not like,
not
it was
thing.
all
bad.
No. No, but there are moments where you just go, what year is it?
Yeah,
like,
there are moments when I was literally just taken out of it. Like I'm just like, and I don't talk during movies, but I'm just like, yo, what the hell? Like certain things just didn't look right.
Right.
But all in all, the movie has some narrative problems. And some CG problems, but it's balanced with performances, and it seems like the film knows that people aren't really feeling the DCEU as much as their competitors, and they're really trying.
Yeah, you can tell they give a damn.
They give a damn. That's it. They give a damn.
Where in the previous movies, like, I liked Man of Steel. I did not care for BVS all that much. I thought Suicide Squad was terrible. Those movies, love them or hate them, they didn't have that feeling of we got to put maximum effort to really nail this. Now, whether you come up short in that regard is a different story, right? Like, I mean, sometimes you make a good movie, sometimes you don't. But in this one, you can tell they were like, we need to put the maximum amount of effort into this to make this movie work. Yeah. And it shows, and you kind of go, all right, well, they didn't nail that, but I saw what they were trying to do. So that's not so bad.
Yeah. If you think that after Suicide Squad, like myself, if you think that after Suicide Squad, that this save for Wonder Woman, that the whole DCEU was kind of taking a nosedive, and then Wonder Woman pulled up on the stick. Now they're trying to level out.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect analogy, actually.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, it left me wanting to know when the next Justice League movie is coming out.
Yes,
like it left me with a sense of hope that the ship is being steered in the right direction.
I would agree with that. So the sad thing is, after all of this, will they continue with this DC connected universe, or are they going to break it apart right as they kind of level the ship, like you know, level the plane, like just let it glide for a couple movies, like just get it right, and then get on that momentum where things are working. Yeah. But we don't know, like we haven't, and I'm not even sure they know. To be honest, I don't even think they know. But yeah, so what is your score out of 5? I'm gonna force you to give a score.
It's right down the middle, 2.5.
All right,
right down the middle. It is average. It is not bad. It's not great, but I'm glad I saw it.
All right, there you go. And I'm gonna go with a 3 out of 5. A lot of the same points. My sort of I had fun in a lot of moments in this movie. I found myself kind of laughing at parts or kind of being like, yeah, that character is doing a thing that character should be doing, or saying something about this other character. Because there's a moment that Batman says something about Superman. Spoiler alert: Superman is in the movie. Like he says something about Superman, and I was like, thank you. That is the character. I'm glad that you recognize that, which means the people at DC and Warner Brothers recognize that. Yeah. So there was a number of moments like that I did enjoy. 3 stars, 2.5. Check out Justice League. It's in theaters on Friday. So whatever date that is, the 17th?
Yes.
So November 17th. Check it out, and we will see you guys next time on Coming Distractions.
See you.